So this is going to be a short tutorial today. We're just going to make this abstract cloud design. I've seen this a lot in 2D graphic design and it seems pretty common. So I tried to figure out a quick and easy way to replicate it that's non-destructive and easily reusable. Don't forget to subscribe to see my new videos as they come out, check out my Instagram to see other things I'm making, and check out my Gumroad for Blender products, project files, and some free art. Links are always in the video description. Alright, let's go. So I'm using Blender version 2.9 today. And I'm going to start by Control A to add a plane, go into edit mode, 7 for top view, and I'm just going to move this so the origin is in the corner, just because it's a little easier to measure. And by default, our plane is 2 meters by 2 meters. You can see that if you are in object mode. It says right here under dimensions. And if you look, you can see these big squares. Those are each a meter big. And so I'm just going to subdivide this, right click and subdivide. And I'm going to change this to 19. So we have 20 faces now, and you can see they line up with these little squares. So each one of those should be 0.1 meters, I believe. So now that we did this, tab back into object mode, and we're just going to use a few modifiers for this. So first, I'm going to use a decimate. And if we switch into wireframe, you can see it's a bunch of squares right here. And when we change this to planar, they all go away. Next, we're going to add a bevel modifier. And we're going to change this to vertices. And I want each one of these squares to be able to turn into a circle. So I'm just going to use, I'm going to change the amount to half this, because right now 0.1 is, as you can see, the size of one of these little squares. We want it to be half that, so I'm going to do 0.05. And I'm going to turn this up to something like 8, but you can make that whatever you want. Then I'm going to add a Solidify. And I want this to be the thickness of one square, which is 0.1. And then I'm going to Shift Z to go back into solid mode. I'm going to shade smooth on this. Then I'm going to come down over here to this, I think is object properties. Under normals, tick auto smooth right here. And so now if you go back into edit mode and look from the top, hit 3 to choose face select. I'm going to deselect everything. And I'm just going to hit C for circle select. And I'm just going to select some of these planes. So this is like the magic part, basically. So I just select a few of these. I'm going to connect them in whatever random spots. I'm going to hit Shift D to duplicate, and then I'm going to hit P to separate by selection, go back into object mode, and you can select that and move it. And now we have this shape. And you can pretty much do this over and over again for different shapes. But you can see there's a little problem. There's a seam on the side. And the reason for that is the Bevel Modifier. If you come back into your modifier stack, it's basically pushing vertices like right up against each other. And so to remove that, we can do that non-destructively also with a Weld Modifier. I like to put that right after the bevel. And it basically does the same thing as if you were to select everything and merge by distance. It's pretty much the same thing, except it uses a modifier instead. So as soon as those vertices touch, they just get removed, basically. And we can change this back to 0.5, or 0.05 rather. So on this main one, I didn't add the weld, so I'm just going to add that in so we don't have to add it to each cloud that we make. And if you want this to be even smoother, you can add another bevel modifier after that, I suppose. I would just change this limit method to angle and make this a little smaller, like that. So with this shape, if we start deleting some of the faces on the inside, you'll see it starts adding some like weird cuts, but if you're in solid view, it shouldn't really mess anything up. So yeah, you can pretty much come in here and draw whatever you want. There are certain shapes that don't really work that well with this method. Like if you do checker patterns, it gets kind of broken, but otherwise it looks pretty good. So yeah, I'm just gonna do this real quick and Shift D, and then P to separate by selection and move that over. So you can see the little checkered spots kind of break a little. It's pretty much just these diagonal connections that don't work well. So if you do have some of these messed up pieces right here, I did find a fix for that. You just go to the top, make sure you press 2 to go into edge mode, and you can basically just like select all the spots that you see that are doing that. Then when you have them all selected, you press F3 and search for edge split, and that will fix it. This is a manual fix. I haven't found like an automatic way to fix it yet. But you know, if you really want some of these shapes to work, that's how you can achieve them. So that's it. This is just a simple shape that could add some variety to your scene. If you have any video requests, leave a comment below. Thanks, and have a nice day.